What do you think about all those Bitcoin Treasury companies? What's happening there?
Well, it's interesting. They are adding a lot of demand for Bitcoin. That's nice, but they're also reuniting Bitcoin with the state.
And Wall Street. And you've been
Right.
fighting Wall Street all your life, or
That's right.
almost all your life.
Yeah, yeah. So I think there's a role in that they're engaged in a speculative attack on Bitcoin, similar to what George Soros did in 1993 when he did an attack on the Bank of England. And
Oh, sorry, on Bitcoin or the dollar?
in George Soros attacked the Bank of England in 1993.
Yes,
And
but
with a speculative attack. So he was borrowing money from the Bank of England to destroy the Bank of England, as the guy, I guess, kicked out of the ERM. And so that was the kind of a template for a speculative attack. Borrow money from the system cheap because they're keeping it artificially cheap because they're unwilling to deal with inflation in a realistic way, and then use it to aggressively short sell everything to the point where they have to force them to make an adjustment, and then the difference, on the British pound, he pocketed $1 billion. So with Michael Saylor and the clones of Strategy are engaged in a massive global speculative attack against the dollar principally, but all fiat money, and they are succeeding to do so. And it's good. They're getting rid of the fiat money world. They're accelerating the collapse of central banks. They're accelerating the collapse of states. But they are putting Bitcoin into the hands of, getting away from the purest self custody form of Bitcoin, and you're custodying your Bitcoin outside of self custody. So there's risks involved. So I just like to remind people that there is a risk when you are backing Michael Saylor or these other the clones of Michael Saylor, because you in a risk that you don't have to, right? The beauty of Bitcoin is that you don't need a custody outside of yourself. You can self custody, and that's the purest form of hodling Bitcoin, which is the primary use case of Bitcoin, is to separate money from state. That's the number one use case for Bitcoin.
And also, if I hold a lot of Bitcoin, like Michael Saylor or like a state, even, I would want people to self-custody. Otherwise, the value proposition isn't there.
Well, yeah, if you think through it, that's true. But I think that right now, Bitcoin is a beautiful technology that turns greed into altruism.
That's true. It's
right. And so a lot of these people are acting out of pure greed, which is fine
that's what
because,
got most people into Bitcoin in the first place.
yeah, you come for the greed and you stay for the altruism. You stay for the love, but you come for the greed. So, I mean, I say, Bitcoin was sent by God to unfuck our money. And I think God is unhappy with humans because we're destroying his creation. He sent his son. We killed him. So he's thinking, okay, I'll give him one more chance. He sent us Bitcoin. And so this is our last chance. And so he took the thing that we were very susceptible towards self-annihilation, greed, and he converted it into love with Bitcoin. Because the greedier you are, the more it pushes out the fiat money hate. So it's a trick. It's a trick that God is playing on us.
The Trojan horse.
Yeah. Yeah.